Hello, let's get ready for week 9. Before we begin our lesson today, I have some important announcements to make. Please listen very closely and also check YSEC for information that will be posted there. First, let's talk about the adjustments in our class schedule. On your syllabus, you will see a schedule that looked like this. However, because the midterm exam was canceled, some of the things on your schedule are going to change. First of all, we already finished the first 8 weeks. This week, we're going to continue our review of Unit 1 and 2 by having a synthesis lesson. A synthesis is a kind of combination lesson, and we're going to look at the topics from Unit 1 and 2, but we're going to evolve our knowledge and learn some new skills. Then, next week, instead of having the midterm speaking exam, we're going to jump right into the final unit of the semester, Unit 4. So we'll start with 4A and then 4B on the following week. After that, we'll have a unit review of number 3 and number 4. Just like last week when we had our unit review, we're going to review the grammar and vocabulary and listening together in our lecture, and then we'll have a review quiz. And again, the review quiz is just for practice, so your review quiz score won't be part of your final grade. We're also going to move assignment 2 a little bit earlier. So week 12, we'll begin assignment 2 so that you have more time to finish it before the final exam. Originally, I thought we might be in class for assignment number 2, but since we will be doing this online, we're going to give you some more time to complete your work. After our review class, we're going to have another synthesis class, but in this synthesis class, we're going to focus on test preparation. After the test preparation, we're going to have the final exam. The final exam is going to include material from the entire semester, which is why now we're going to focus on review a lot. So first, we're going to have the written exam, which will be taken online. And then we'll have a speaking exam. Let's look at the final exam in more detail. The final exam will have 2 parts. The first part, it's worth 40% of the grade. So remember, the midterm exam, we split the midterm exam points, and now the final exam is worth more. So final exam, 40%. The first part is an online written exam, and we're going to complete this written exam on class marker, very similar to our attendance quizzes. 10% of your final grade will be taken from the listening section, and 15% of your final grade will be taken from the writing section. And the writing will focus on using grammar to respond to different questions. Then the next week, we're going to have a speaking exam. And for the speaking exam, we are going to have a Zoom interview together online. So when we get closer to the speaking exam, I'm going to give you some more details about how exactly we're going to schedule the exam. But for right now, just be aware of the format. We'll learn more later. There's another really important announcement I need to make, and I'm going to put the information about this policy change on YSEC. You will see a paper or PDF document. Please read it very carefully to understand all of the details. So starting May 18th, so the week after, you have a little bit of time now. So let's take a look at our calendar. Okay, this is my cute calendar. So right now, we are in week 9. Okay? The this this is this week. Next week, starting on the 18th, we're going to have a new attendance policy. How will we change the attendance policy? There will be no more attendance quizzes, no more class marker quizzes. Instead, we are going to have conversation clinics on Zoom. What does that mean? Well, that means every week we're going to have a 30-minute Zoom session. Everyone in class must log into the Zoom meeting at the same time. When you arrive in the Zoom meeting, you must announce that you are present by sending a message saying, "Hello, I'm here." And then that is going to count for your attendance. Okay? So you must actually be present in the Zoom class. You don't need to show your face, you don't need a video, but voice is necessary. The purpose of this Zoom session is to practice our speaking skills together. In this Zoom session, we're going to review grammar from the previous week and practice making sentences, having conversation, and having work with a partner in speaking. So you really must be there to earn your attendance point. You also must attend for the entire Zoom class. So you must be there for 30 minutes. There will be more rules about the late policy, absences, and all that, but please look at the document. Okay, this will explain everything in detail. And if you have any questions about the Zoom classes, please send me an email as soon as possible. That way we can answer questions and take 1 week to prepare for the Zoom classes, and hopefully everything will work out well. Okay, so now we know about our schedule adjustments, the final exam format, and the new attendance policy, which is a Zoom class. Now let's move on to today's lesson. Today we're going to have a synthesis of Unit 1, our health, and Unit 2, our environment. And to synthesize these two topics, we're going to learn about debate. Yes, a debate is a kind of argument, but instead of getting angry and fighting with someone, we present our opinions and we justify them using facts. This is a kind of rational conversation. So we're going to learn about debate techniques and how to make an argument in a conversation in English. So, how can we debate our opinions in English? We have a process. Let's take a look. So, in today's lesson, first we're going to discuss the general ideas of the topic today. Next, we're going to hear a newspaper article, and you can read it on the screen. After we have thought about the topic and heard the newspaper article, we're going to check for comprehension. Did you understand the topic? What is it about? Then, after we learn all of the information, we can begin talking about our personal feelings. And we're going to use some sentence structures in English to express our personal feelings. And then finally, the part that really makes this a debate is to make evidence-based arguments. So first we talk with our emotions, and then we talk with our brains. And we're going to learn another kind of sentence structure to help make arguments. So because this is only a 50-minute class, we won't have time to practice arguing together, but it is a really useful skill to know in the future. So let's start with number 1, discussing the general ideas. So for our general ideas, we're going to begin with an opinion survey. So take out a little notebook or a piece of paper and get ready to answer some questions. Which statements are true about you? Answer each question honestly. Do you agree or disagree? To agree means to have the same feeling or have the same thought as someone. When you say, yes, I think the same way. If you disagree, it means you're saying, no, I don't think like that. So, very simple. Just tell me one answer. Agree or disagree. Let's start with the first question or first statement. She's thinking about all the food she can eat. There are some fruit, vegetables, meat, fast food, processed food, seafood. Let's read the statement and decide if we agree or disagree. I want to make healthy food choices. It might not be perfect, but I try. Do you agree or disagree? Okay, next statement. They are dumping trash in the river. This is something that is very common in some countries. And if you go on YouTube, you can watch videos of people doing this. When I watch videos like this, it really hurts me to see. Let's read the statement. Pollution and climate change are dire problems. We need to take strong action as soon as possible to save the planet. Agree or disagree? Dire means extremely serious or urgent. So, take a moment to write your answer. Okay, next sentence. Remember this? We talked about using reusable tumblers, metal straws, and biodegradable utensils that are made from bamboo or wood. This is called zero waste. So let's read the sentence. I am willing to make lifestyle changes to help the environment. Or maybe you already do some of these things. Agree or disagree? Good. Hopefully you agree and you want to help the environment. Next, samgyeopsal, so delicious. Eating meat is natural. I eat it often. Agree or disagree? Okay, next. On the left, we have some land that was cut and all of the natural landscape was destroyed so that they could build palm tree farms. And we use palm tree farms to produce palm oil. Palm oil is a really popular ingredient in many different snacks, and we can see them here in the photo. Crackers, candy, potato chips, all kinds of things. But palm oil is a huge problem in the environment. One, it destroys a lot of natural habitat, and two, it creates a lot of pollution. Then on the right, we have two special diets. Vegetarian, which is a diet that doesn't eat meat, and vegan, which is a more extreme version of vegetarianism, where we don't even eat dairy or honey or eggs or anything made from an animal. So how about you? I avoid certain food products to help the environment. Agree or disagree? For me, I avoid certain kinds of fish, especially tuna, because it can be very harmful to the ocean to eat these types of fish. All right, so now we've talked about our philosophy about the environment and our health. Now let's look at some food. Tell me your opinion about this food. I think this food looks delicious. I would eat this meal. Agree or disagree? Agree. Okay, next meal. Ooh, yummy chocolate ice cream. I think this food looks delicious. I would eat this dessert. Agree or disagree? Okay, good. Now we're talking about our opinions. Next meal. I think this food looks delicious. I would eat this meal. This meal is a traditional American dish called a seafood boil. Especially in New Orleans, you might see a meal like this. These are almost like very small lobsters. Sometimes people keep them as a pet, but in America, we eat them, and they're really delicious. So, agree or disagree? Would you eat this meal? All right, how about this one? I think this food looks delicious. I would eat this meal. Agree or disagree? Look at this delicious. In English, we call this a murder hornet. Look at this murder hornet, a murder wasp. Mmm. Okay. So now we know our opinions about different types of food. We're going to talk in our main topic, we're going to talk about our diets. So on the left, we have a vegan meal. On the right, we have a meal that includes meat, actually a lot of meat. So, how do our diets affect our health, and how do our diets affect our environment? Maybe you've heard this a lot before, that meat can be very damaging to the environment, and everyone should be a vegetarian or be a vegan if they really want to help the planet. But a life without any kind of meat at all sounds really difficult for many people. And what about protein? How can we continue a healthy diet without meat when we need protein to be healthy? Well, maybe there's a third option that we haven't thought about. Let's talk about entomophagy. This is the practice of eating insects, especially in people. Would you ever eat a bug taco? It might be the future. So let's talk about our main topic, eating bugs. We actually already eat bugs in many places around the world. Beijing, China is famous for their street food that includes many different kinds of bugs. But it's not only in China or in Asia. We also eat bugs in Uganda, Cambodia, Ecuador, and even in South Korea. Have you tried bundigi? I have, and it seemed very strange to me, but it's very normal to eat bugs. So, why is it something that is found around the world, but at the same time it's so unpopular, right? Many people eat bugs, but very few love them. Usually when people see them, they look, ugh, disgusted. How can we change our perspective about eating bugs? Let's go back to the foods that you uh, looked at before. You thought you would like all of them, maybe, or maybe there were some that you didn't like. Which food do you think included bugs? Surprise! It was this one, the ice cream. And it's made with cockroach milk, aka the superfood of the future. Would you eat ice cream that was made with insect milk? Ew, that's so gross. When I see a bug with all of its little legs and its antennas, or antennae, ugh, it creeps me out. But at the same time, I'm okay with eating shrimp and lobster. So maybe that's a little bit strange. So let's learn a little more about cockroach milk and how we can use it. Before we listen to the article, there are a few expressions and vocabulary words that we should review. The first, if you look on the left, is an expression. Not my cup of tea. That's not my cup of tea. Let's practice saying it together. Ready? 3, 2, 1. That's not my cup of tea. Very good. When we say it's not my cup of tea, it means that I don't like it or I'm not interested in it. It's usually a really polite way to say, ew, no way. Okay? So if someone came up to you and they said, oh, would you like to try worm spaghetti? You can say, that's not my cup of tea. Okay, good. Our next one. Take a look at this red fruit, a pomegranate. Everyone knows that pomegranates are really, really good for you. We call this kind of food a superfood, a food that is especially healthy. There are many different kinds of superfoods, like blueberries and beets and kale. So, we're always looking for the next superfood. Our next word on the left, we can see two bags, a plastic bag and an eco bag. An eco bag is considered an alternative. It's a replacement for something else. And usually an alternative is supposed to be healthier or better in some way. Next, we have lots of very healthy foods. These foods are nutritious. They contain a lot of vitamins and minerals and other things that are important for our health. Next, we have foods that are made from milk and cream, like cheese and yogurt. This is called dairy, anything made from milk. And we can use any kind of milk, sheep, cow, goat, buffalo milk. They're all considered dairy. And finally, our last word, we feel very happy about these things. We can feel guilt-free. So maybe you really love steak, but you know it can be bad for the environment. And you feel really bad about killing a cow. You feel guilty when you eat it. But if you eat a salad, you feel guilt-free because we know that it's eco-friendly and we know that it's not hurting anyone. So we don't have to feel bad about it. We can be guilt-free. All right, so now that we've learned some interesting words and expressions, let's go to the article. I'm going to read the article out loud. Please listen carefully and fill in the blanks. Okay, so take out a notebook, and on your notebook, just write your numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And as you listen, fill it in. Okay, let's get ready. First, I'll read it a little slowly, and then I'll read it at a more natural speed. First, slowly. It might not be your cup of tea, but cockroach milk could be a new superfood. Insect dairy could soon be in supermarkets. Scientists say insect milk is a good alternative to cow's milk. However, it might be hard for people to accept milk from bugs. Scientists studied the milk from the Pacific beetle cockroach. They found it was more nutritious than cow's milk. It had more than 3 times the energy of dairy milk. It was also full of protein. Milking cockroaches for the human population isn't as easy as milking cows. An alternative is to recreate the milk in a lab and then produce it in factories. One company has already started selling insect milk ice cream. It says the milk is a sustainable, nature-friendly, delicious, guilt-free dairy alternative of the future. It won't be long before other companies start making food and drinks using milk from insects. Okay, hopefully you caught most of those answers. I'll read it one more time at a more natural speed, and then we'll check your answers. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. It might not be your cup of tea, but cockroach milk could be a new superfood. Insect dairy could soon be in supermarkets. Scientists say insect milk is a good alternative to cow's milk. However, it might be hard for people to accept milk from bugs. Scientists studied the milk from the Pacific beetle cockroach. They found it was more nutritious than cow's milk. It had more than 3 times the energy of dairy milk. It was also full of protein. Milking cockroaches for the human population isn't as easy as milking cows. An alternative is to recreate the milk in a lab and then mass produce it in factories. One company has already started selling insect milk ice cream. It says the milk is a sustainable, nature-friendly, delicious, guilt-free dairy alternative of the future. It won't be long before other companies start making food and drinks from milk, using milk from insects. Okay, maybe that was a little challenging. Now let's check your answers. Number 1, might not be your cup of tea. 2, soon be in supermarkets. 3, a good alternative to cow's milk. 4, people to accept. 5, was more nutritious. 6, also full of. 7, for the human. 8, to recreate the. 9, it in factories. 10, guilt-free dairy. 11, belong before. And 12, using milk from. Okay, this was a challenging fill in the blank because it cut the sentence in the middle of the rhythm. So you had to listen very carefully for all of the little words. Okay, so now that we've heard the article a couple of times, let's check our comprehension. If you need to, you can take a photo of the article now with your phone, and you can read it again to answer the questions on the next slide. So we're going to answer true or false. Number 1, scientists say milk is a good alternative to cow's milk. Number 2, people will accept insect milk easily. 3, scientists studied the milk from rhinoceros beetles. 4, the more efficient way to produce insect milk is to recreate it in a lab. 5, insect milk is nature-friendly. And 6, the author believes that insect milk will become popular in the future. Now that you've had time to read these sentences, let's check your answers. Number 1, scientists say insect milk is a good alternative. True! The whole article is about this opinion. Number 2, people will accept insect milk easily. Maybe not. Scientists studied the milk from rhinoceros beetles. Actually, they studied the milk from a certain kind of cockroach, the Pacific beetle cockroach. This is the only insect that produces milk. Actually, when it produces the milk, it creates a kind of protein crystal. And then they take that crystal and they develop it into a powder. This is how cockroach milk is made. But you need thousands of cockroaches to make 1 glass of milk. So there are many different alternative ways of making insect milk. Number 3, the most efficient way to produce, there's a spelling mistake, insect milk is to recreate it in a lab. True. and then they will put it in a factory. Insect milk is nature friendly. Yes. Good for the environment, guilt-free. And finally, the author believes that insect milk will become popular in the future. Yes. This article is trying to promote insect milk. Okay, so now we know all about cockroach milk, but how do we really make it? The article talks about the difficulties of making insect milk. Well, let's take a look at that company that uses it right now. Remember the chocolate ice cream that you looked at before? This company uses Ento milk to make their chocolate ice cream. Let's take a look at how it's made.
Entomophagy is a dairy alternative that we make from black soldier fly larvae. We take the insects and we process it into a dairy alternative. It forms a rich and creamy liquid which looks and acts just like dairy. Entomophagy is very rich in protein, fat, calcium, iron, and zinc, which is really good for you. And it's got a very creamy mouthfeel. The world needs alternatives to survive. Insects are vital for the future of food because they require very little land. They don't damage the environment like livestock. They don't produce greenhouse gases. And they meet the demand for ice cream. The world is going to struggle to produce enough food for the growing population, and I find insects a very viable option.
Can you believe it's made from insects?
Hi, I'm Leah Bessa. I live in Cape Town, and I make dairy alternatives from insects.
So, would you try insect ice cream now that you know how it's made? Let's learn how to express your opinion using sentence structures. After that, we'll learn how to express your thoughts using facts to back up your argument. This way, whenever you have a heated discussion or a debate with a friend, you can give an intelligent, well-thought answer instead of getting confused or stuck in your emotions. Let's start with our opinions. Usually we have two kinds of opinions, a casual opinion and a strong opinion, something you really believe deeply. First, we'll start with a casual opinion. At the beginning of any sort of discussion, we have to decide what we believe. Do we agree with the topic or do we disagree? So to express our agreement or disagreement, we can use words like this. Oh, not really. I don't want to try insect ice cream. Or, sure, that sounds really interesting. After we express if we agree or disagree, then we should give our opinion. To give our opinion, we can use sentences like this. I think, I believe, in my opinion, and personally. And when we use personally, this is a really casual way that people talk in America and in other Western countries. It's a very natural way of expressing the same idea. So, let's say, for example, I want to say that I would like to try insect ice cream. Let's listen to a sample answer. Would you like to try insect ice cream? Sure. Personally, I'm not bothered by insects. I think they are quite delicious. Okay, so here I expressed my opinion in a really casual way. I'm not trying to change someone's mind. I just want to express how I feel. Next, let's look at strong opinions. Instead of saying, not really, or sure, you can give a strong agreement or a strong disagreement. For example, you can say, no way, absolutely not, never, never, never. These are really strong ways to disagree. And of course, we use a stronger voice, we use a dramatic pause to show our strong emotion. If we want to agree in a strong way, we can say, definitely, absolutely, of course. Now, when we're explaining our opinion a little more, we're going to use sentence structures that try to express that our opinion is really clear or that everyone knows this already. It's a fact. So, although we're talking about our emotions, when we're talking about them strongly, we try to present them as something that's really true for everyone. So let's listen to an example of a strong disagreement. Would you like to try some insect ice cream? No way! Obviously, it's disgusting. Okay, so we made a strong opinion that disagreed with the topic. Now let's practice making some sentences using different prompts. Take a look at this picture. Do you think that insect-based foods will become popular in the future? And you can see an example of another insect-based food. This one is a kind of bread made with cricket flour. It doesn't look like an insect, and actually, maybe it looks a little delicious. Let's practice writing one casual opinion in your notebook. I want you to choose one response, agree or disagree, and then choose one sentence structure. Then write your complete opinion in your notebook. Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and try to think of your opinion. When you come back, we'll look at the next prompt. Let's write another casual opinion. Take a look at this image. This is cricket pasta. It's a pasta that's made using insect flour. Do you think you would want to eat this pasta? All right, take a moment with your notebook and write a casual opinion. Now let's write a strong opinion. Look at this food. It's a salad full of worms. Would you eat this salad? Why or why not? Time for one last strong opinion. So, that bug looks disgusting. But shrimp, lobsters, and crabs also look pretty weird. Do you agree with this statement? Eating insects is the same as eating shrimp, lobster, and crab. Give me a strong opinion and write it in your notebook. Now let's learn how to make fact-based arguments. Take a look at the sentence starters below, and then take a look at the right side. This is a kind of information or fact that we want to talk about using these sentence starters. The first sentence starter is according to. We use this sentence to introduce information that comes from a specific place, which can be a person, an organization, or even a newspaper article. For example, according to Barclays, a British investment bank, insect-based foods are going to become an $8 billion industry by 2030. Now I've introduced a fact, and I've also told you exactly where I found that information. According to. Next, in comparison to. We use this sentence to compare two different examples. So, for example, insects are better for the environment. In comparison to cows, crickets use much less water and land. Next, something suggests that. This is when we make an inference or a connection between two ideas. Finally, we have a sentence, the fact that proves something else. We use this sentence to make a conclusion about our ideas. For example, the fact that the Amazon rainforest is getting burned at increasing rates proves that our meat consumption is causing a lot of damage to the environment. Here we're using a fact to prove a conclusion, and we're going to put it together in one sentence. Now let's practice making some fact-based arguments in a sentence. Look at this picture. In this picture, we have some details or numbers that are being compared between different types of animal protein: chicken, beef, pork, and crickets. So, take a look at the picture and then take a look at the sentences. Which sentence do you think would work best for this example? Right, a comparison. So let's begin our sentence. In comparison to beef, crickets contain a lot more protein. In comparison to pork, beef contains more protein. Okay, so practice making a sentence like that. You can also use the other sentence starters for this infographic if you like. According to this diagram, blah, blah, blah. So take a moment with your notebook and write one argument based on this information. Now let's look at our next set of information. Here we have a table, and in this table, instead of comparing the nutritiousness of the meat, we are going to compare the cost of production. That includes the amount of pollution that is caused, the amount of food that is required to raise the animal, the amount of land that we need to grow them, and the amount of water that we need to give them. So, again, we can make a comparison or we can make an inference. So, for example, X suggests that the amount of land needed to raise cows suggests that it's the worst protein choice when we consider environmental health. Okay, so go ahead with your notebook, practice writing an argument. Let's look at another diagram. Here we have a poll, and in this poll, they asked people's opinions about eating insect food. So you can take a look at the 4 different questions that were asked. Then we can see the responses that are in blue, red, green, purple, and light blue. Take a moment with your notebook and make an argument based on this picture. Now for our participation work. This week for our participation work, we're going to share our opinions and arguments which you practiced writing just now in the lecture. Please submit your opinion and argument sentences in a Word document file on YSEC. Refer to the images in this video. You are going to see the form on YSEC that will give you a template for your sentences. But please look at this video to look at the pictures that are being referred to, especially the data tables. So in summary, in today's lecture, first, we talked about the final exam format and how that has changed. 2, we talked about our policy changes, the changes in our schedule, but also the Zoom attendance classes, which are starting on May 18th. Please look at YSEC to read more information about the Zoom attendance classes. Then we began the main topic of our lesson, which is a synthesis of our health and environment. We talked about insect milk. Is it the new superfood? We learned how to craft some sentences in a debate, which included expressing our opinions and making arguments. Then for our participation work, we are going to submit the sentences that we wrote. And finally, please don't forget to complete the attendance quiz. This will be the last attendance quiz. Next week, we will begin our Zoom attendance classes. Thank you so much and have a great week. Work very hard, and I really appreciate all of your effort in my class. Thanks so much. Take care.